Hi, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Kit Bag, all things netball and beyond. Well, we've had a week and a half, or rather 2 weeks, of Commonwealth Games, and that is going to be our show for today. And Janet, hi, how are you?
I am amazing, thank you.
You're always amazing, Janet, always amazing. And you sound happy. It must be sunny where you are again.
It's not really sunny, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm in
Okay.
shorts.
Right, that's great. At least you're in shorts. Right, we're going to have a good conversation today because today is all about the Commonwealth, all about that's just finished, and we're going to have a little chat about some of the points, some of the games, etc., etc. But so myself, Pam Hessen, and Janet Letman, we are your hosts for Beyond the Kit Bag. And just a little disclaimer, anything we say is our own experience, our own opinions, but it comes with a lot of good experience and quite open and honest opinions. And as I said, Beyond the Kit Bag is life with netball. We talk about all things strength and conditioning, nutrition challenges, Super League, grassroots, mental health. Nothing is beyond the table. So just thought I'd put that out there so that you guys know. And welcome to our show. We're glad to have listeners and new listeners as well. So Janet, let's get straight into it and let's talk about third and fourth playoffs, semis and finals. So let's start with the third and fourth playoff, which was England versus Australia.
Could I just say one thing before we say that, Pam?
Of course you can, sure.
The pressure England had coming into that game
Yeah,
on Thursday against South Africa, because if they didn't win that game, they would be playing off of fifth and sixth place.
yeah,
So I just wanted to say about that game and that how England won that game by 4 goals.
yeah, they did, yeah.
But South Africa took the game to England. First quarter was 17-11. Then England sort of like licked their wounds, came back with a 17-12. Third quarter, 15-10. And the last quarter, 15 all. So England was frightened in that first quarter and they
Mhm.
had too much pressure. But I just wanted to say that, and I'm just brushing off my shoulder, Pamela.
Mhm.
I've got, is it 10 out of 10 of
Yeah.
all the predictions? I said England's going to win. You said South Africa. I'm just rubbing it in a little bit.
Yes, I know, I know. But you know what? I did think South Africa, I couldn't really choose it. I wanted England to win. Don't forget, I am England and I'm an England fan. And I wanted England to win, and I thought they could do it. But judging by looking at those players of South Africa, I thought they might just edge it. I didn't think it was going to be a close game. I just thought they might just edge it. And in the end, England won. So my hat off to you, Janet. You got your prediction right. Congratulations. I'll get you next time.
But most of the time, most of them,
Yeah.
me and you are will spot on.
We normally are spot on. And that's the good thing about the show, though. We've got great debates going on. We've got great
Yeah.
debates going on and open and honest,
Until I
open and
try
honest.
and trip you up,
Until you
right?
try and trip me up, until you try and trip me up. But you know what? You trip me up, I trip you up.
You trick me, you come and face me. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway,
Right.
come on, let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Right, from the sunny Jamaica going to Scotland, I can tell you from now, I had about 4 layers of clothes on.
Oh my God.
Cold. It was cold. So going to that semi-final game on Saturday,
Uh-huh.
it was England versus New Zealand. I'm going to be honest, my hopes wasn't that England was going to win
Uh-huh.
just because of their showing.
Yeah.
But I had hopes that they would score more than what they needed to score to win a game. Do you
Hmm.
understand? But unfortunately, England versus New Zealand, I apologize.
Yeah.
England played New Zealand, they lost by, I think it was 61, 54. So England just didn't show up.
Yeah.
And if they, no, they did show up because they scored 54 goals. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But they didn't have an answer for Grace.
No, they didn't.
And there's something that I want to speak about, but I want to speak about it at the end.
Yeah.
And it's about England's defense.
Mm-hmm.
And how if players don't come out of their house, so that if you as an individual are really good at doing something at home, and I need to go onto world stage or go into a new country to learn new skills, this is an opportunity for them to do it. Because England, I'm not a fan of Fran, but Fran did really well in that
Mm-hmm.
game, New Zealand versus England.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Freeman didn't show up. Too much pressure.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't look the world class I see her on when she's playing in NSL. She at a world stage she wasn't performing, and maybe it's because there were not enough people that were the caliber to steal ball, keep possession of the ball in defence, carry that ball down through court.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to talk about later.
Okay. And I think I sort of agree with you because normally in NSL games she's stealing ball for the whole 60 minutes, but I didn't really notice her that much. She did some really good things, but to be fair, I didn't notice her as much. So yeah, we'll go on to that later. But let's look at which game do you want to look at? Because I know you went and obviously, you soaked up the atmosphere. I did hear it was cold and it was raining. I couldn't believe that because down in England it was warm. Um, so where do you want to start? I think this is about
Um, Go on.
no, I think this is about obviously it's about the Commonwealth, and I just really want to know your full experience because I wasn't there. It wasn't on television, which I think was not right. I think it should have been on television, but that's another show. So you
You
carry
can
on,
see
Jack.
them now on YouTube. It's on YouTube. Sorry
Yeah,
to plug it.
yeah. That's
Uh,
fine. Okay, so go ahead.
uh, so my thing was the atmosphere in the first game. It was 9 o'clock in the morning. Everybody's rubbing their eyes, trying to find their seats, and it was about everybody's hopes. There were so many people in red and white walking through the thing, but you could see in their faces their hopes for England to show up after
Hmm.
playing Australia in the rounds, after
Yeah,
playing South Africa. Jinsan, England lost to Australia by 19 goals in the rounds.
yeah.
Coming through, I don't think they were happy. Do you understand? So you could see the crowd when they were coming. The New Zealanders, they were walking, they were shouting, they were calling. They're not as boisterous as England because when they were Scotland's not that far away, but they had a good voice. The
Hmm.
game was thrilling. Australia, New Zealand took it from the start. Their score was
Australia. Are we talking Australia or New Zealand?
New Zealand. New
Yeah. Okay.
Zealand
Hmm.
took it from the start.
Hmm.
16-11, first quarter, 13
Yeah.
all. England came back.
Hmm.
Then it was 17-13, and the last quarter, England did take it,
Hmm.
17-15, but New Zealand's already swapped some of the weaker players on to get experience um,
With the
on the
game.
court.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the game. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was quite a comprehensive win by New Zealand. I think they had another gear to go up, and I don't think they went to their top gear, not with the in that game.
No.
So that
I
was
think
that.
also they're trying out new things as well.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. They didn't even go to full gear. So, and they still beat England.
Yeah.
So there you go. So what about the next game?
What you're talking about, the atmosphere?
Well, the atmosphere first and foremost. Yeah.
The atmosphere when Jamaica played Australia.
Score! Oh my goodness me! Oh my word! They do not do bronze. Jamaica have just produced one of the biggest upsets in Commonwealth history, in netball history, and they have stunned the four-time and reigning champions. There has never been a final without the Diamonds, but tomorrow they will play for bronze.
Okay, yes, the atmosphere when Jamaica played Australia. What was the atmosphere like?
Wow.
That must have been something else. Yeah?
So just by listening to that clip that you just heard,
Yeah.
the stadium was electrifying. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot express to you how I've got a Jamaican top on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? And Jamaica had, I wouldn't say they had control, but they were in the lead for all that game. And for the 60 minutes, I think Jamaica had control of the front space for at least 58 minutes of the game. England, sorry, I keep on calling it England. I keep on getting myself mixed up.
Australia. Yeah.
Australia. I've never, ever, 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 ever seen Australia transition the ball back so many times in one quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? In the first quarter, it was like, I can't get into the circle. Back, transition, like reset again, try it again. She's not in the right place, reset again.
Mm-hmm.
And they look nervous from the first quarter. New Zealand, never seen New Zealand.
Australia.
Sorry, Australia. Why am I getting myself mixed up?
I don't know. You're
apologise,
excited.
everybody. I'm so excited.
You're excited. You're too excited.
Right.
Go on.
Okay, I just take a deep breath. I did my meditation. As I take a deep breath,
Yeah.
Australia has
Yeah.
never been on the back foot.
Never.
Apart from I wouldn't say never. In 1999, in World Championships, that's what it used to be called, in New Zealand, England, when Australia was playing New Zealand, they were on the back foot until the last seconds when Shira McMahon scored that last goal. I've never seen Australia being so nervous. Every centre pass, every back line, every steal, it's like they're frightened to let go of the ball. And Jamaica on the next hand, if I said to you every time they stole the ball, the crowd erupted. We've got the Prince, do you understand?
I saw it on TV. And
he's in the stand and he's not going for Australia. He's calling for Jamaica.
I know. And I was watching it on television with a friend of mine. So I was watching it with Joan and we was on the edge of our seat. We couldn't believe it.
Right. So my question is, go and watch it. I was in the stand and listen, people were chanting, they were singing, they were biting their fingernails. And this is one of the things I would have to question coaches and players alike. If we're in the lead by 3, there's 1 minute and 45 seconds left on the court while you're playing the ball around. You've just stolen a ball. Your 3 goals up. Take the ball to goal and shoot the ball so you're further up. You get the ball, you come right into the circle. And instead of putting the shot up, you pass it out.
Yeah.
Australia takes the ball, brings it down. I'm telling you, everybody started.
I can imagine. We could see it.
Australia was clinical at that point, and that is where psychology comes into our game.
Yeah.
So they carried that ball, they carried it safe. They didn't get Jamaica to set up. They played that ball, got it in, they scored it, they sent the pass. They're now 2 goals down. Their centre pass, take it to goal very cleanly. No interruption for none of the defenders. They scored a goal. It's Jamaica's turn to bring that ball through court. And you don't score it. And you don't score it.
I know.
And you get the ball, you throw the ball away. Australia is bringing the ball through court. Do you understand? And they lose the ball. It goes offside. This is literally 10 seconds left to go. Jamaica's on the back foot to go and now still. Because remember, if you draw, you're going for another 20 minutes. Do you understand? So they've played it out. They get a call. Australia gets a call. Who knows? On the arm of a New Zealand umpire. Why is it where contesting is played throughout the whole of the game? While in that situation, it was now called from a contest, it went for a penalty. And it's just something that's a question for me to just ask out in the world. And so in the end, Australia goes for that goal. And I'm going to be honest, I don't even know if I was sitting or standing. But when the goal goes in, if you listen to when it hits the post and comes off, the actual stadium was quiet for a millisecond. Because nobody can believe it. She missed a shot. It doesn't now normally happen. Do you understand?
I know.
And then fabulous.
But Janet, let me let you into a secret. So when we were watching it, I didn't see it, but Joan was there. Joan goes, "There's Janet."
Is it? They saw me on.
Yes. So I do have to look at it again to see if I can see your face. But obviously Janet knows you, and sorry, obviously Joan knows you, and she said, "There's Janet, there's Janet." But obviously it was during the game, so I wasn't going to go back
Okay.
because the game was going on. So I am going to watch it again. But
Okay.
you know, one of the things, it's just like a little bit similar to when England won the World Cup in 2018 in Australia. Remember, that was decided on a penalty, but luckily Helen Housby was under the post
Yeah.
for that one. Now, the Australians, I'm not sure whether they were taking far shots. I don't think they were taking any far shots in the whole tournament. All their shots were close to the post or well within shooting range.
Yeah.
But with the Australians, anything really is within shooting range for them. But it was just unfortunate for them that this was a bit of a longer shot, just a bit on the edge or just outside the shooting range. And it's a shot that they would normally make. And she didn't make it. And I heard the silence and I heard the gasp and then I heard the eruption. That's what I saw on television at home. So what it was like when you were there, oh my gosh, your heart must have been in your hand.
Hey, listen, everybody, listen. If you was a New Zealander, you was cheering for Jamaica. If you Ugandan, you're cheering for Jamaica. If you was an English player, you're cheering Jamaica. If I said to you, coming in for the next day, with my big Jamaican t-shirt and sweatshirt on, people went out,
Yeah.
they went into town, and they made up their own t-shirt, their own hat of Jamaica with it on. Everybody want Jamaica to win that finals. But I think Jamaica was spent. Where you said earlier on, New Zealand had a comfortable ball lead. They only lost one quarter. No, they drew one quarter. And lost one quarter.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole of their semi-finals. So, and the thing is, they've been there already. They've been in that atmosphere. They played the 9 o'clock game. They relaxed.
Yeah.
I think I even saw in the New Zealand versus Australia game, Jamaica versus Australia game, I saw some of the England players come up to watch that game. Because you know what they're doing? They're looking at the team that they're going to play against, which normally on paper is usually Jamaica, so they can make their little pointers.
What was
But it
really
wasn't to be.
Yeah, I saw, just on a quick note, I saw Shamira being interviewed and what the interviewer said to her, how did it feel, you know, that win and whatever. And obviously she was excited. And she asked Shamira something like, did you think you were going to win it? And Shamira goes, if anybody was going to win Australia, it had to be Jamaica to do it. They would do it. And she said, and we did it. And, you know, it was a really nice moment for her, a really nice moment for her, because those girls are really nice girls. They are. They are really nice girls.
They play for each other. They're very
Yeah,
friendly.
they are. And they're
You
clean.
understand?
They're clean. It's
Yes.
none of this body on body in the circle. None of this body on body. If you ever look at their play, they don't actually do, you know, there are some teams that we know of that are just typically bullish, typically goalkeeper on the goal shooter, or, all that kind of nonsense going on. But they come from nowhere, the Jamaican defense, and they take a ball clean.
I think it's
It's
speed. It's all about speed.
yeah,
I think basically, for me, from this off goal, the two New Zealand umpires was not having Bruce dictate what she normally does.
yeah,
And for the first time, Bruce came off. The coach must have talked to her and put her back on because she had several quiet words. But for the whole of this tournament, I didn't see anybody really get sent off.
no,
There's a lot of quiet words being given.
yeah,
And some people, when you look at some of those games, I have to be questionable about the umpires. The
hmm
reason why I'm questioning is it, how can one team, Australia team, in the first quarter have 20 penalties against you
yeah,
and the other team got 9? And throughout the whole game, it gets double and double and double and double,
hmm
and nobody gets a warning. But make the table be on the other side. The other team's going to get warnings after warnings to somebody gets sent off.
yeah. And this is a question. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, the rules are the rules, but the umpires have their interpretation, don't they?
Yeah, the interpretation, and the thing is that I'm in the stand watching. You're on TV watching.
hmm
They're there
Yeah.
in present moment, and of their present moment is what they see.
hmm
Do you understand? It's for them to react to.
Literally, it's in the
So
moment. It's in the moment, and
yeah,
they make that decision, a split decision. Because on a previous show we had Maureen Robinson on, who's does umpiring, and she's a mentor for umpiring. And she said what we've got to realise is players have to realise is that umpires can only call what they see, and they make a split decision. They have only got about a second or two to make a decision. So, but the only thing I would say, and I did say this to Maureen, was, but then when it's glaringly obvious, how do they miss it? Because there are some penalties that are glaringly obvious. There are some penalties that are persistent, and they've got to call them. But anyway, we know sort of the state of play of that one. But what about the what was I going to ask now? I've lost my train of
Australia
thought.
versus England.
That's it, Australia versus England, the second for third and fourth.
Right. So the question I need to ask is
hmm
this, and I'll ask you, Pam. What has happened to England's defence? And we're going to World Cup next year.
Yeah.
Will the teams be changed? Will the coach be changed?
Janet, there has to
Question
be
mark.
changes. It's not a question. Well, yeah, question. There has to be changes. We can't go with some of the players we've got, and we can't go in the state that we're in. There were some players that, and this is again, as I say to listeners, you have your views. Please put it on Instagram or in our email address, Beyond the Kit Bag at Instagram and Beyond the Kit Bag at gmail.com in our email. So you can direct message us on Instagram or send us an email. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what you think, especially for coming up the next year in Sydney, the World Games then. But what I'm saying is, and I'll quickly say it, is that there has to be changes because there were certain players that were virtually non-existent. Non-existent, And you know what? I'm going to hold my hand up and I'm going to mention them. Jess Shaw. I didn't even notice her at all. Did not even notice her at all. Yeah, we're talking about the attack. I'll tell you who showed up time and time again. Lois Pearson.
Yes, you did.
She showed up time and time again, and she was the person that was noticeable. She was noticeable, right? What do you think about centre court and defence, Janet?
Right. I'm going to just talk about the defence.
Okay.
When you got 4 defenders and 4 of them can go into the circle, but in the rounds when it's an easy games, you play 2 units together. So the Fumi and the Halley, throughout the whole of the first in the round, they play them together, and then they played Fran and the other young lady, what's her name?
Either Jada,
Jada.
yeah,
It was,
Jada Petrie.
yeah, together. And then when you come to semi-finals, you're now putting Fran and Fumi together when they definitely don't have a connection. And the thing is that my question is, Fumi was left wanting. She wants to steal, but she needs to mark. She wants to steal, and she's like, you know, when you're hedging to go forward, but you want to mark. You're hedging to go forward and you want to go mark. Similar to Shamira in the finals. She wants to steal the ball. But the person scoring all the goals is Grace.
Yeah.
Stick with Grace, man. Forget about the steal. Because you hutching forward to go get a steal that you're not getting, you're leaving your shooter open. And that's what happened. England, Fumi doesn't really perform as goalkeeper well. She does play goalkeeper when she's working with Hallie. When she's working with Hallie, because Hallie doesn't jump as much as she used to, what happened is as the ball is progressing into the attacking third, Fumi goes in and doubles up on the shooter, and Hallie goes out to play play against a goal attack. But when you are playing with somebody that you're not normally playing with, and you both don't know the thing, Fran marked her partner, Fumi marked her partner, and the connection was wrong. Do you understand? There wasn't no person stopping back, the person getting into the circle. The connection was all terribly wrong. We never stole any balls at all. Semi-finals, all the third post playoff.
They struggled to stop Garbin and Austin. They struggled.
I don't even know if they struggled. I don't think they showed up, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, you could be right. You could be right. And we threw balls away, didn't we? We threw balls away.
We threw the ball because you're under pressure. And then the thing is that, sorry to jump in.
Yeah, sure. No, okay.
One of the things that I felt, because I was at the stadium, when Liv gets really excited, she keeps on moving around. She was a better goal shooter in the Australian game. But she was doing too much in the first quarter and she needed to come off. But then, coming into the third quarter, they should have put her back on. Because they had her. The shooter didn't have nowhere to move. She was Cardwell coming out, going in, holding her position. They were all over her like a rash. She couldn't get the ball. And so the minute Olivia came back in the last quarter, they couldn't get the ball from Olivia because she's a bit rangier.
And she can jump. And she can jump. Yeah.
Do you understand? And I think what they did, they took too long because the fans, like England fans, like Cardwell, but that game wasn't for the third place playoff wasn't Cardwell's game. It's Olivia's game. She just did too much in the first quarter and missed it out. Take her off, have a quiet word with her, put her back on.
Yeah. And quickly to interject into that, I know I felt that Alicia Scholes, and she was talked about send her. And I thought, no, she's not quite there yet. I take that back because we needed an Alicia Scholes to do that link up with Liv Sheen. Even though she's a one-trick pony, that's how I feel. And folks, that's my opinion. I'm not saying she's a bad player. I'm just saying she just plays wing attack and she plays it well with Liv Sheen, or rather Liv Sheen. As Wes said on a previous program, throw Alicia at them, throw something they're not used to, and see how they react. And I think she would have worked well in there. I think
what you've got to look at, and it's something that you don't know how tall these girls are. When they're walking past you, you're thinking, oh, my neck is going to break. Am I looking at a skyscraper?
I know.
So you put Alicia Scholes, and I'm looking down at Alicia, and I'm a 5'8" person.
Yeah.
Do you understand? If Alicia don't turn and pass straight, they're going to eat up that ball.
Yeah. I was just wondering, I was just making that comment because I was thinking, would it have made a slight difference if Liv Sheen had Alicia there? You don't think so? Okay.
I think the work happens in the centre court all players need to all play together.
Yeah.
Do you understand? When the ball goes down from centre pass to goal, what is our strategies? What's our tactics? And at the moment, England was wanting because we've got different shooters, different goal tats, and I think they need to spend more time in camp with each other, learning each other, playing against really hard games for them to perform better.
Yeah. And remember, Leslie Blair that we had on the show had said that we don't know what goes on in camps, but,
Yeah.
and we don't because we don't know the challenges. But at the same time, the other side of the coin is, right, that although we don't know what goes on in camps, we should be able to get it right on court in the most important games in our lives. There should be, some sort of handle on how partnerships play, what works, what doesn't. Because again, I think we were found wanting in trying to decide on partnerships.
Okay.
But
I
anyway,
think also looking at the Jamaica versus New Zealand, Jamaica put all their energy out in the Australia game.
yeah,
They didn't come showing up. Do you understand? To me, maybe, you know what it is? Too much time, people like myself and yourself, we can criticize the players on the court. But like Fumi, Shamira was too busy trying to go for a steal instead of marking the person that was taking them to goal. New Zealand, if they didn't have Grace, they wouldn't have won the game.
no, they wouldn't because Shamira had a job dealing with Grace. These overheads that she would normally get up and get more than 50% of them, or put the shooter off more than 50% of the time. She had a problem dealing with those overheads with Grace, and even though Grace Nowicki was a bit shaky at times, she held the ball. I don't think she ever dropped the ball. I think she held the ball when it came over or it went out. So, and she got better as the game went on. She got more.
As the tournament went on.
Yeah, but
And the
even in the
thing is
final,
that,
even in the final,
yeah,
she got better.
but my question would be this. You're a defensive coach. If I'm the defensive coach, you've played New Zealand already. Haven't you watched the clip? If you watch the clip, watch the first round, then watch the finals. Shamira's marking Grace's front foot. Grace catches the ball on her back foot. So when you're marking the front foot, you're never gonna get the ball.
No.
You've got to be able to reverse your feet, run your feet, and take the ball on her back foot. Because if you look at the New Zealand, every ball that went into Grace was high and pointed at the back end of her and not the front end. And what Shamira was doing, she was marking her front end and not her back end. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Grace don't take no ball far. So when she came out the circle, why aren't you marking her and stopping her from getting in the circle?
Janet,
My
you get
lady
it.
just walked underneath the post.
You're right there, Janet. Jamaica left themselves a bit open at times, didn't they?
Yeah. And I think for me, it's, that you've got people on the bench. Now, I know I'm passionate, my mouthy, I'm quite loud.
You never are.
Nah, it's just it's people keep on saying it to me and I
Not
just
like-
don't understand.
Not like you,
Right,
Janet.
so my question is, when do you as a coach, and it's happened to me several times, take a step back? And I know that all the camps, they probably looked at those clips. This is before the final game. And the Jamaicans put all their heart and soul in to beat Australia.
Yeah.
And to beat Australia must have taken, I don't think Jamaica has got to that level of playing ability and being ahead for the whole of the game.
Yeah.
So that alone is pressure. They came as an underdog. We got people talking before the game, oh, they're going to lose by 8. They're going to, Australia's going to win by and they have to eat their words. These people have to eat their words. What can I say?
Yeah.
But at the other end of it is when do you as a coach watch the clips of when you play them in the rounds and help your defenders or help your mid-courts or help your shooters to take it to the next level? Because there are certain things. They couldn't get the ball on Romelda. Romelda steps in. So what they did, they got the goalkeeper to put her hand right over the ball. So now Romelda's got to change her shooting action. And then she gets called twice for pushing the ball in the goalkeeper's hand. Right? So that's one of the things. So when do you tell her to adjust the way she shoots or shoot a little bit quicker?
Yeah, but you
Because
know
the
what?
New Zealand did it.
Yeah, but you know what, Janet? And that would also, the other side of the coin is when is enough of persistent penalties without something being said? Because if you actually check the stats on the games that Australia played with Jamaica, Australia had double the amount of penalties and obstruction penalties than Jamaica. And they didn't really there wasn't really too much warnings going around, not for Australia. The only thing was in the final, they had quite a few warnings in the circle with Courtney Bruce,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
it still nearly wasn't enough because there were things that she were doing I didn't really agree with. I thought, hang on a second. So when is enough enough? When do you start to really, deal with stuff like that as umpires? Because you're letting things go and letting things go and letting things go. But then the other side of the coin is Jamaica, they're also a physical team, but both teams are physical. Why are you calling one over the other? I don't understand it. When you look at the stats, and people can go back and look at the stats and see how many penalties and obstructions Australia got compared to Jamaica. That's a question I have to ask. What do you think, Janet?
Well, listen, I've been saying it for years. Do you understand? There's one call for one team and there's another call for another team. Just if you're the underdog, they look at all your mistakes. If you're a person, as your leader, you've got a powerful voice, you're number one, they sort of like blindside your contacts. But at the same time, there's somebody recording it, but
Hmm.
nobody's been answered to it. And then also as well, you've got that myth, but it's also true. A Caucasian person would do a contact all the time, and it's called assertiveness or domineering. But if somebody from another nation is contact, it's a warning, caution, small word, then you're off. So one person can be doing it all the time and getting away with it, and the other person doesn't. As a defender, it's the same thing. The shooters are pushing on you, shoving you. The minute you retaliate, obstruction, contact. So when there's actual shooters, get warned for it. So it's a culture that certain positions, certain countries will get called all the time and not get blown for it. In the first quarter, in the Australia versus Jamaican game, it was 19 penalties to Australia to 7 to Jamaica, 5 obstruction penalties to 2.
Well, that's a big number. 19 penalties. You're saying this is the first quarter, 19
First
penalties.
quarter.
Right, so 19 penalties to Australia and Jamaica had 7. I mean, that is just totally unbalanced. That they don't get nothing for 19 penalties. I would say that's persistent. In 15 minutes, that's a penalty. That's more than a penalty a minute. Because if the quarter's 15 minutes and they got 19 penalties like that, come on. So maybe that's something we need to have a conversation. Maybe we get an umpire again on our show, on our podcast, and we sort of have a quick conversation about this thing because it is very important.
And then when you look at it, the bigger picture, by the time it gets to the second quarter, the score is 21-23, and the penalties is 33 to 23. Now, come on. The contact penalties. Now you're taking
Yeah.
liberties.
I know.
You're
I know.
taking liberties.
I know, Jan. I know. You're getting seriously wound up about this, ain't you? I don't blame you. I get seriously wound up when I see it because, everybody, I think everybody does when they're where, especially when you see it on television, you can actually see it really close, up close. So you can actually see on television. That's the one good thing about having netball on television. You can see how close it happens. You can see the replays and you can say, hang on, how did that not happen? How did they get away with that? And the umpire that we had on before on the show, Maureen, these are the things she would say. She would say it's really difficult sometimes umpiring, especially quick games, because, and I have to put the umpire side of it, what Maureen said, because you have to make you have to call what you see first of all, and secondly, you have to make a judgment in a split second, and it's difficult. But then I think if you've got somebody persistently making you think about it as an umpire, making you think, hang on, she's caused contact there. Okay, let that one go. She's caused contact there. Let that one go. Can't let that one go. And then and you can see by the stats that you've said, 19 penalties to Jamaica's 7, was it?
Yes.
There was persistent contact there. And throughout the team, I don't know, I would imagine a lot of it would be in the circle, but that's just making an assumption, let's say, because sometimes we know how the Australian defence play. But at the end of the day, the umpire's got to call it and stamp it out. And obviously, every umpire has we've got the rules, but every umpire has certain interpretation of the rules. So maybe we get our umpires on and maybe they can talk us through some of this thing, because we know umpires, they're not perfect human beings. But if you see something obvious or if you see a pattern, you've got to stamp it out. That's what I feel anyway.
I agree. And I think also as well, remember, we're coming from local league. This is a top league.
World
and
League.
The thing is that they understand the difference of the contact, the consistency.
True. That is true. That is true. But anyway, all in all, Jamaica did really well. And it was great to see 2 different countries in the final. And I think they'll go on to do really well in the Worlds next year. What do you think the key things that they've got to do for next year? Jamaica, to see whether so they can be on that #1 position, because they're so close.
All right, I think the bigger picture is this. They have told the world, and they've said it to Australia, anybody can beat you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? It's about the will, the determination, the more interceptions, and putting the shooter and the center court under pressure. So Jamaica, to be able to do that, they're in the place where they train. They know their players.
Yeah.
You lot need to start working it out.
Yeah.
And play as a team and be happy like they were happy. Do you understand? Jamaica was one of the most happiest teams.
They still are. Because let me just let you into something. I was with the Sunshine Girls yesterday. They're doing a training camp. And let me tell you something. That was an experience. They were absolutely fantastic. Shamira, Kadeen, Latanya, all of them. Brilliant. Because you know what? They didn't do anything fancy. They used a lot of game sense, and they concentrated on the fundamentals, on the basics. They weren't flashy. They did the footwork. The footwork is what made them flashy, because they were able to do things quickly. And they showed how that was done in the simplest way. And it was so effective in what they're doing. And it made a lot of sense. So I had a fantastic day with all of those Sunshine Girls. But as you quite rightly said, we've got the skills, we've got the game. It's about getting over the line. It's about that consistency and maybe a bit of fitness. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that is, you know what it is? How hard are we working for players' fundamentals?
Yeah.
And also, I feel as well, these girls, because they're away from Jamaica and away from their immediate family, they've got their little family, is that they've got a little community.
Yeah.
And of that community, they're friends. They go out, they look happy. Do you understand? And you know what as well? And it's something to just think about as netballers. They've not only got their family, they came with their children.
Yeah.
And that must be very hard for them as well, juggling. And their children are not like they're 12 and 13. Their children are little. And that they've got to make sure that, I know a couple of them are probably still breastfeeding, probably.
Yeah, they are.
And that saying that because you've got your whole family there, you've got nothing to worry about because your family's in the house. And I think that that's what the Jamaicans came with. World Championships, be frightened. That's all.
Yeah.
And Jamaica, and sorry to say this, that they should have won World Championships in South Africa. But you lot have got to look beyond who's on the court. And that's why we call beyond the kit bag. Because we're not only just looking at the players on the court.
Yeah, we're looking beyond. We're looking beyond. And just one final thing that I sort of think about adding is I spent a lot of time with them all day yesterday and I was talking to some of them. And this team, to get where they are, I have to take my hat off to them because the challenges they were talking about, the challenges that we take for granted here and maybe in Australia, New Zealand, the facilities and everything like that, these girls still work. These girls have to work to live. There's only about 3 or 4 of them who are in the Australian League, but they still have to work even though they're in the league because people think that they just play netball. In their contracts, they have contract of work. So yes, they play netball. Yes, netball is their job, but they've also got other things they have to give an excess amount of hours working in different areas, like working in schools, working doing camps, whatever. So they still play and they train, but they still got to work. Those that are in Australia, those that are not in Australia, they've got to work anyway. And they have lots of challenges that people don't understand, and the ones that are in Jamaica, and when it comes to games like this, they were telling me they only had 2 weeks to train together. 2 weeks to train together, which took them to the final. So this is what I'm saying, that they have done phenomenally well. And they are a ray of sunshine because people love the fact that they got to the final. So there are a couple of things that I know they need to iron out. And I'm not at liberty to say that. That's for their group to discuss and their coaches to discuss. But there may be a couple of things they need to develop. But at the end of the day, they're working towards that. I think they'll iron it out. I think that it's just about getting that final bit now, what they need to do over the line, and they'll get there. I believe they'll get there. Everybody will try hard to keep them from it, but I think they're going to get there. They're such a determined team and they're such a great family together. The togetherness was unbelievable. They're all like a group of sisters. And I really mean that it's like a family connection. They're sisters and they look out for each other and support each other because they all are quite grounded players. They're quite grounded as people. So yeah, I believe that they're going to do it. Right. So Janet, we got to the final. We've got through the final. Maybe we talk about a bit more about England next week because you know what? They've got a bit of work to do, haven't they?
They've got a bit of work to do, but at the same time, what we've got to do is we've got to go to the drawing board. Who is out there?
Yeah.
Who is in next gen? What experience do they need in the next couple of months to start getting them ready and prepared? We've got a series coming up in November.
Yeah.
Do you fly them in, play against tough teams, see how their coping mechanisms are, do you understand, and work on them? Because I think that we're looking for players that are ready-made, and England hasn't made no ready-made players. Because I'm just going to be honest, you can't carry players that can't jump and you're in the circle.
Yeah.
Literally can't jump. But you can have great footwork, great movement to adjust their movement, to get the tips and the interceptions.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But on that note, I'm going to say there's a song they were singing after Jamaica beat Australia. Listen to the clip. This is people outside the venue. Listen to the clip. Okay. Have an amazing rest of your day.
I will do.
Goodbye out from me.
Right. Thank you, Janet. And bye from me. See you guys next week. Thank you for listening. Make sure you listen to our podcast next week. Okay, guys. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you soon.